41 Action News reporter Nick Starling is there now and joins us live with one of the march organizers. Nick.
Hey there, Gabriella. We're at City Market Park. This is going to be the meeting place of this latest protest. And we're joined by one of the organizers, Justice Horn. Thank you for joining us live here. And talk to us a little bit about this latest protest. It's a silent march. Talk about that.
Yeah, so the point of today is really for everyone to stand together. It is going to be a silent march. It's not going to be as razzle-dazzle as the other ones, but it's just all of us coming together, wearing white T-shirts, and writing down the names of the victims. I haven't done mine yet, but I was going to come together and not only write the names of the victims they know, but also those in the community. And then we're going to do silent march around Kansas City, and then just stand in solidarity. It's just kind of how everyone who's protested is kind of a moment for us to really mourn and really be with those we've lost.
And throughout this week, we've seen changes with, maybe KCPD policies and body cameras announced and maybe some more tactics that are different. Is that enough, or is there more to go?
I think there's absolutely more to go. I think any institution, especially our police department, could always do better and continue to do better. I want to thank the mayor and the city council for actually changing with reform, but we need to actually make sure that that continues to happen and that the citizens have a seat at the table.
And as you're out there marching throughout the past week, and you have a lot of upcoming events this coming week, talk a little bit about what's going through your head as you're here with thousands of other protesters.
So I think that Kansas City, as always, has led the way with this, and we're seeing protests pop up in KCK, Overland Park, Prairie Village, and Independence, and we're seeing a lot of citizens and cities take charge and really say we need to make our police department do better and be better so that everyone has a safer community.
All right, Justice, thank you so much for joining us live here. It starts at 6 o'clock here at City Market Park, and beware, it is hot outside, so bring a water bottle if you do plan to march out here. Reporting live, Nick Starling, 41 Action News.
All right, thank you, Nick. If you take a look at your screen right now, these are the lists of demands the Black Lives Matter organization has asked Mayor Lucas to sign on Friday to enact change in our city. 1, demand local control of the Kansas City Police Department. Right now, the department is governed by the state, and it's been that way for more than 80 years. 2, a more stringent policy on the use of force and a better de-escalation procedure. And 3, that the department will engage more with the community and its representatives. And 4, funding for body cameras, which is already in place for the department to now buy. Today, protesters marched down East Meyer Boulevard, starting at Unity Southeast Church. Organizers say they want to incorporate more faith into the Black Lives Matter movement. 41 Action News reporter Emma James shows us how they took their message away from the plaza for other parts of the city to hear.
The organizer today tells me he has been at the protest at the plaza for the last 9 days and says his march today is a little different. It's part of his goal to bring the movement and his message out into the community.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like. For Reverend Randy Fickey at Unity Southeast, this is Kansas City at its finest.
There is power in gathering and community.
Fickey marched alongside a group of people Sunday, demanding change for Black lives.
Hey, hey! Racism has got to go!
While walking down East Meyer Boulevard, Fickey spoke about the murder of George Floyd.
What we experienced in those 8 minutes and 54 seconds was a modern day lynching.
Fickey says protesters want to see body cameras on all officers and locally controlled police jurisdictions. For Greg Hollins, he hopes violence doesn't overshadow the message. Enough is enough.
If 2 or 3 people get it, then that's 2 or 3 more people. So it's all about trying to get your word out there the right way in a positive way.
Hollins says diversity in marches like Sunday's is huge, and he applauds the younger generations.
It's not my job to be the face of the movement, but I'm here to support in whatever the way I can.
Fickey hopes the momentum continues and the people who come out to march don't ever stop.
As the light continues to grow, I know that when another group starts to experience darkness, we'll be able to be that light for them as well.
In Kansas City, Emma James, 41 Action News.
Thank you, Emma. And as we learned last week, body cameras are now fully funded for the Kansas City Police Department. Last week, the DeBruce Foundation donated $1 million and then collected an additional $1.5 million from others in order to pay for those body cameras. The foundation is working with the Police Foundation to make sure those cameras are purchased soon. And coming up tomorrow, a Black Lives Matter protest is slated in KCK. That is set to go from 11 to 1 outside of Wyandotte City Hall. You can see and hear much more coming from these protests over on our website. Everything from discussions on the issue of race to reaction from your local leaders. You can find all of that on kshb.com or on our free mobile app. And now Gary Lezak is joining us today, hopefully with some good news that there is possibly an end to the humidity.
You ready for a big change already?
I want to go outside and breathe.
Okay, Wednesday.
Air you can wear is not for me.
I know, that's true. Wednesday, it is going to be much cooler, okay, and drier.
Dry.
Yeah, so you got until Wednesday.
Cool and dry.
I know. So a very interesting weather pattern is developing. Good evening, everyone. Take a look at this out of the stadium complex. It is hot. It is humid. It's about 90 degrees, 89 degrees. Well, it's 90 right now. South-southeast wind at 14 miles per hour. It feels like it's about 95 degrees outside with that heat index. It is 92 in Leawood, 91 in Lee Summit, 90 degrees in Liberty. And here is Tropical Storm Cristobal. He's in Cristobal right there, right near New Orleans. Believe it or not, it's going to take a trek across Arkansas, head right into Missouri. What impact will it have on us, though? We'll take a look in a few minutes.
Thank you, Gary. Kansas City police do believe a man was shot and killed during a robbery this morning. This all happening outside of an apartment building at 41st and Troost. This is the 78th homicide in Kansas City so far this year. Just to put things into perspective, Kansas City saw 51 homicides this time last year. Police are also investigating an overnight shooting where 2 people were shot near Gregory and southbound 71 highway. This happening at around midnight. 1 person there was critically injured. The other is expected to recover. Police have not released any suspect information just yet. However, if you know anything about this shooting, please call the Tips Information Hotline. You can stay anonymous. That number's on your screen right now, 816-474-TIPS. You can also submit an anonymous tip online at KCCrimeStoppers.com. Cases rise locally and across the country after the Memorial Day holiday. When and where we're finding more cases coming up next. Plus, with police brutality on the minds of many, we're taking a deeper look at how officer-involved cases are handled by prosecutors across the metro. Welcome back. COVID-19 cases have surged past the 15,000 mark in the state of Missouri. We're also tracking more than 800 deaths across the state. A few counties in Kansas have also updated their numbers today. So right now, we're finding more than 10,400 cases there and 235 deaths. In the United States, more than 110,000 people have now died from COVID-19. The country has seen an uptick in cases since Memorial Day. And according to NBC News data, there is over 1.9 million cases just in the United States. The coronavirus has now killed Americans in every single state, with New Jersey, New York, and Massachusetts reporting the most deaths. The global death toll is now nearing 400,000 as Latin America sees a growing number of cases. And still ahead, how local criminal justice systems handle cases involving police officers.
All right, what's left of the tropical storm and a strong developing cold front. That's right. We'll talk about that coming up.
You're watching 41 Action News.
Welcome back. When an officer is involved in the death of another person, what happens next falls on the shoulders of prosecutors. I-Team reporter Kat Reed is lifting the veil on the process of charging a police officer with insight from prosecutors on both sides of the state line.
Lady Justice is always depicted this way.
She has a blindfold on because everyone should be treated the same.
That includes those tasked with protecting us. When an officer is involved in the death of another person, it's typically up to our prosecutors to decide if criminal charges should follow. In Johnson County, Kansas, and Jackson County, Missouri, that process starts at the crime scene.
Since I've taken office, my chief deputy has been the one who gets called out to the scene. I usually have my chief investigator from my office also go out on the team.
We view those scenes as special and different, and that they need to be managed as special and different.
When there's an excessive force case in Johnson County, an officer-involved shooting investigative team leads the probe. Those investigators come from outside agencies.
Quite honestly, it gives the public a sense of security knowing that it's not their buddies investigating their own.
In Jackson County, practices vary. A recent example, the Missouri Highway Patrol was called in to investigate after an off-duty Raytown police officer shot and killed an armed man at a Walmart. Meanwhile, KCPD had been investigating its own incidents, but Mayor Quinton Lucas announced Thursday all officer-involved shootings and certain use of force incidents will be reviewed by outside agencies.
In officer-involved cases, they do take additional time because officers have certain provisions through their union contracts that we must abide by. So officers get additional time before they make a statement.
Charges depend on intent.
So we have reckless conduct, meaning that the person was reckless in committing the crime of murder, and then you have intentional conduct. So if the person intends to kill another person, and then you have premeditated, which is I planned on killing an individual.
House says deciding on charges takes time because Kansas has 10 different statutes dealing with use of force and self-defense.
There are several Supreme Court decisions that say that if you don't look at the person's right to defend themselves before arrest, it will result in the dismissal of the case, flat out.
In a recent high-profile case, Howe declined to bring charges against the officer responsible for killing an Overland Park teen in January 2018. His office decided the officer was justified in opening fire because he feared for his life. Prosecutors can decide to bring charges, or they can take their evidence to a grand jury who decides whether or not to return an indictment. That grand jury process can take longer.
The other thing is a grand jury is secret. By statute, you cannot discuss what goes on in a grand jury.
Prosecutors should not hide behind a grand jury, and they also should only use it when it's the only path they have forward.
Like when the investigating agency doesn't submit a probable cause affidavit to the prosecutor. It's why a grand jury was used to bring charges against 2 KCPD officers involved in the May 2019 arrest of Breonna Hill. Regardless of how charges are brought, it's a unique position for prosecutors, going to court against officers who normally solve crimes, not commit them.
It's not something we like to do, but one of the things that as a prosecutor you learn that you have to do is you have to take the emotion out of it. Our decisions should be objectively made based on the facts and the law.
Because justice is supposed to be blind. I'm I-Team reporter Kat Reed, 41 Action News.
KCPD Chief Rick Smith says his department found no probable cause that the officers involved in Hill's arrest broke the law. That's why there was no probable cause affidavit sent to the prosecutor's office. 41 Action News did reach out to Wyandotte County Prosecutor Mark Dupree. He was not available. A Houston church will hold services for George Floyd tomorrow. The Fountain of Praise Church is now planning a public viewing for visitors to pay their respects to Floyd. A private funeral service will be held on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Church officials say visitors will go through metal detectors, receive temperature checks, and masks must be worn. Thousands of people are expected to be in attendance. Sentiments of protesters are no longer found only in the United States. Protests are growing around the world, calling on governments to address racism within their own countries, all in the wake of George Floyd's death. Protesters surrounded the entrance to the U.S. Embassy in London today as part of an anti-racist demonstration. Today's actions come after thousands protested on Saturday, with some clashes between police, but despite largely peaceful demonstrations there. And a Black Lives Matter protest was canceled due to coronavirus restrictions in Hong Kong. Yet a group of demonstrators showed up in front of the U.S. Embassy today in solidarity. One protester there says this is not just an issue in the U.S., but a global one.
Now, here's Kansas City's most accurate forecast from Chief Meteorologist Gary Lezak.
Okay, hopefully just one more day with this air you can wear. I hope you're staying hydrated.
It's been sticky, but
it's been sticky.
I like it, you know. Yeah, if you're going to be outside.
Your hair is more conducive to this temperature.
That's true. I don't have a hair problem, so that's
we love you, Gary.
Hey, look at this. This is our Bordner Home Improvement Skyview Network, and it's sunny, it's hot, it's humid. and it's 90 at this moment. South-southeast wind at 14 miles per hour. 92 in Leawood, 91 in Bonner Springs. It is 89 in Blue Springs, Lee Summit, 91 in Liberty. You're sitting at 90 degrees. How are you doing on this Sunday evening? Very interesting weather pattern. No rain now, as we can take a look at weather track radar, and maybe you headed down to Lake of the Ozarks from Sunrise Beach to Osage Beach. A pretty good day on the lake today with a little bit of a breeze. Most of the nation is quiet. Topping the weather news today is Tropical Storm Cristobal. As you can see, there it is near New Orleans. It has just made landfall. It looks like it right now, last hour or so. There's Gulfport, New Orleans, and Mobile, Alabama getting a lot of rain. This system is going to turn our way. Look at it. Very organized, and it's going to hold its circulation as it heads towards Missouri. So watch this. Here it comes, what's left of it, moving across Arkansas. This is at 4 o'clock tomorrow. We should sizzle again tomorrow with high humidity, 90 to 94 degrees tomorrow for the high temperature. Then this system will move north with rain. Look how close the rain gets to Kansas City, not that far away. So Odessa, Oak Grove might be the western cutoff. Literally just 25, 30 miles away, or maybe